Hello to all students, I am Professor Masood Fuzail. Today we are going to discuss structure and function of human ear. If you like this lecture, please share with your roommates, your classmates, with your friends, and appreciate my work. First of all, we are going to discuss structure of human ear. Human ear is a very big blessing of Almighty Allah, Almighty God. It is divided into three parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. This is the outer ear part, which is also known as pinna. Until here, as you can see here, the part of the ear from this portion to this portion is known as outer ear. The little bit part of the center is known as middle ear, and this part is known as inner ear. If we look at the structure of outer ear, it is composed of an flap of tissue made up of muscles and cartilage, which is known as pinna and also known as auricle. Pinna is made up of connective tissues, skin and containing cartilage, soft cartilage, which make it flexible. It has some convolution in it, which are known as helix, and it has a lobe, which is known as earlobe. It helps to collect sound waves coming from the atmosphere into our ear. The next portion of the outer ear is a tube, which is known as auditory canal or ear canal. This tube converts sound waves into pressure waves and also protects our inner ear and middle ear. This tube contains some sebaceous glands which produce sebum and wax, which helps to protect our ear from microorganisms and water. It also maintains the pressure and dampness of the sound waves. It contains small hairs which prevents dust particles entering in our inner or middle ear. This auditory canal is about the size of 2.5 centimeter or 1 inch. Any pointed thing cannot be used in the inner ear because it can damage your outer ear and eardrum. At the end of the auditory canal and ear canal, there is a connective tissue which is known as tympanic membrane, which is also known as eardrum, which vibrates to produce sensation of hearing in our inner ear. If we look at the structure of middle ear contains three ossicles which are known as ear ossicles. The first ear ossicle is known as malleus. The second ear ossicle is known as incus, and the third is known as stapes. Malleus, incus and stapes, these are very small bones present in the middle ear of the body. There is a cavity in the middle ear which is known as eustachian cavity, and a tube which connects our inner ear, middle ear to the pharynx is known as eustachian tube. Eustachian tube keeps the balance of air on both sides. One air is coming from our ear and reaches at the tympanic membrane, while other air which is coming from our nose into throat, pharynx, and from pharynx into the ear. In this way, our tympanic membrane is at balance position. But whenever we have a cold, our nose is closed, the pressure of the ear on one side increases and on the other side reduces, and we feel that our ear are also plugged in and closed. So this eustachian tube, which is produced as a result of embryonic development from gill pouches, helps to keep the balance of eardrum. If we look at the structure of inner ear contains two types of apparatus. One is auditory apparatus and the second one is vestibular, which maintain balance and equilibrium of the body. First of all, we are going to look at the structure of auditory apparatus. Auditory apparatus consists of a structure which is known as cochlea, which is spiral formation like the shell of a snail. This structure is known as cochlea. It contains two windows. One is known as oval window and the other one is known as round window. Oval window receives vibration of the sounds and round window dissipates those vibrations. This cochlea contains organs of corti which contain sensory hair cells, and it also contains a liquid which is known as endolymph. During the vibration, when vibrations reach at the inner part of the ear, these vibrations are converted into sound waves, which we will discuss later on. And also there is a nerve arising from this region, cochlea, which is known as cochlear nerve, which reaches towards brain, temporal region of the brain, and converts vibrations into sounds. The second apparatus which is used for the posture and balance of the body, which is known as vestibule. Vestibule is a portion attached with cochlea which contains specialized hair cells and structures which are responsible for posture and equilibrium of our body. It also contains three canals which are known as semicircular canals. This vestibule and semicircular canal contain gelatinous material which also contain otoliths, which are crystals of calcium carbonates which help in the balance of the body. There is also a nerve which arises from vestibule which is known as vestibular nerve, which also goes to our brain to help keep the balance of our body. These semicircular canals are located at right angle of each other. So this is overall structure of human ear. Human ear can detect, first of all, now let's study functions of human ear. Human ear is involved in hearing and equilibrium. So first of all, we are going to discuss auditory apparatus which is involved in the hearing process. Human ear can detect sound waves of 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. If the sound waves are below 20 Hz frequency and are more than 20,000 Hz, the human ear are unable to detect those types of frequencies. During childhood, a child can detect more frequency, but as soon as a person becomes older, its hearing ability reduces with the passage of the time. First of all, sound waves, whatever the sounds are, it could be sound of ear, which could be sound, it could be sound of crow, it could be music, it could be noise, or it could be the sound of a drum. When sound waves reach our body, they are collected by external ear, which is known as pinna. The helix in the pinna collect the sound waves and guide them into the auditory canal. Auditory canal changes these sound waves into pressure waves. Their dampness is controlled and their frequency is also maintained. These ear canals collect the waves and sound waves reach at the membrane which is known as tympanic membrane. Under the influence of sound waves, tympanic membrane starts to vibrate, and vibrations are transmitted to the next bone which is known as malleus, which is also known as ear ossicles. These vibrations are transferred to malleus. Malleus starts to vibrate. These vibrations of malleus are transferred to incus, and the vibrations of incus are transferred to stapes, which is the smallest bone in our body. When stapes vibrate, these vibrations are transferred to cochlea through a window which is known as oval window. When oval window starts to vibrate, the fluid inside the cochlea, which is known as endolymph, it also starts to vibrate. When this fluid touches the internal lining of the ear, organ of corti, they contain special hair cell. These hair cell also starts to vibrate, and the liquid, when starts to vibrate, they bend the cilia of the inner hair cells. These hair cells produce a kind of nerve impulse in the receptors present inside the ear. An action membrane potential is generated, which is then transported to ear through cochlear nerve, which is going towards the temporal region of the brain, and which can understand the sound. If the sound is familiar to you, like the sound of a crow, sound of a drum, sound of a music, then you can detect that sound, this is the sound of an ear or a sound of a drum. But if the some sound which are very unfamiliar to our body, our brain cannot decide what the sound is like. So good sounds are known as music, while bad noise which are not good for your brain are known as noise. If I have made a summary for you the process of hearing. First of all, the sound waves from the atmosphere reaches toward outer ear. Outer ears guide these sound waves into the ear canal, where they are transferred into pressure waves. Pressure waves reach tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane starts to vibrate, and vibrations are transferred to malleus. Then these vibrations of malleus are transferred to incus. These vibrations of incus are transferred to stapes. Vibrations of trapes are transferred to oval window, and from where these vibrations are reaching in the oval window to cochlea, where the fluid in the cochlea endolymph starts to vibrate. These vibrations are transferred to receptor hair cells present in the cochlea, which generate nerve impulse. This nerve impulse reaches to auditory nerve, and auditory nerve transport or transmit this nerve to brain, the temporal region of the brain, where sound is detected as a familiar or unfamiliar sound, either it is a music or a noise. So in this way, whole process of hearing takes place. The second portion of the ear which control body posture and equilibrium and balance of the body is known as vestibular apparatus. Vestibular apparatus is responsible for posture and balance and equilibrium of the body. There are two types of equilibrium in the body. One is static equilibrium, which is in the state of rest, while dynamic equilibrium, which is equilibrium caused by the motions in the body motion. So first of all, we are going to look at the structure of vestibular apparatus. Just above the cochlea, there is a structure which is known as vestibule. Vestibule has semicircular canal. I have taken a cross section of this vestibular apparatus right over here. It composed of a epithelium, which are you can see in the blue color. This epithelium contains some receptor hair cell. Receptors hair cell, as you can see, are in red color. Their filaments join together and form a sensory nerve fiber, which form a vestibular nerve and which goes towards brain. Inside the epithelium, inside the vestibule, there is a gelatinous material. This gelatinous material contains a type of statolith which is known as otoliths, which are made up of calcium carbonate crystals, which are very minute crystals. And there are also some supporting cells. This structure of vestibule is in the form when I have head upright. As you can see, I am standing upright and my head is also upright. So our vestibular apparatus contains this kind of structure. But whenever you bend your head like this one, like this one, or like this one, so usually I bend my head downward. When head is bent downward, this apparatus will become like this one, and the epithelium becomes straight. During the under the action of gravity, these gelatinous material and otoliths will move downward. As you can see, this gelatinous material sags, sinks, and cilia of receptor cells also bend due to the action of the gelatinous material, which is bending toward downward due to under the effect of gravitational fluid. At the same time, crystals of otoliths, calcium carbonate crystal, also sink down. As a result of the sinking down and sagging down of the gelatinous material and calcium carbonate stone, these hair cells present on the receptor hair cell, which are type of mechanical receptors, also bend down. When the cilia of the hair cell bent down, they cause to produce a potential, membrane potential, which is known as action membrane potential. This action membrane potential causes a production of nerve impulse. This nerve impulse is transmitted to nerve hair fibers. These nerve hair fibers, sensory nerve hair fibers, join together to form a vestibular nerve, which reaches to the brain, and brain detects the body position and posture of the body and keeps the balance. If you bend too much, then your body will straight you up and stops you from falling down. So in this way, vestibular apparatus containing gelatinous material and calcium carbonate crystal and always semicircular canals helps to keep the balance and equilibrium of our body, and helps us to avoid us from falling down. So in this way today we have, I hope you have understood this lecture. We have studied about the structure and function of human ear. If you understood it, if you do, then please like it, subscribe it, share with your friends, and also sometime comment it. See you in the next lecture. Bye.